you wanted to get into something tonight.
What's that? What's that?
You wanted to talk about this unreleased Chili Pepper song.
Oh, yeah. God, I forgot all about that.
Called Circle of the Noose.
That is right.
Do we want to play some of it?
Yeah, you want to play a little of it?
And then, no, just you can YouTube it. We could probably talk over it too because it's unreleased.
Interestingly, yeah, it's unreleased. An unreleased Chili Peppers track that I did. It was the last thing we recorded together. It was after One Hot Minute came out. And we went into the studio to see how we were feeling musically.
Mm-hmm.
And do you want to get it up? Because he
can find it. He's capable.
Okay. That doesn't appear to
I'm
me.
just not getting... Oh, there it is. Okay. I wasn't getting Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Let's talk over it lowly.
Okay, so Circle of the Noose. Like a hang noose.
So this is 98?
No.
No, 95 or something
I
like
don't
that?
know. It's crazy.
I'm sure an ad's going to play first. All right.
And a lot of people have been asking me about this song because I guess it was unearthed recently or like a year or two ago. Nice, right?
Is that you and Flea? Is that bass in the back?
That's bass and guitar.
Do you remember doing this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Does it go louder? Okay, so we won't play the whole thing because it's obviously... Now, this is a guide vocal. So what that means is when we're recording the song, the singer sings along so we know where we are in the song, but he's not really
giving it his all.
He's just kind of marking the space.
Okay.
So that's what that vocal is. That's not him. He had yet to do it. You see,
waiting for Beinhorn to come in.
He had nothing to do with this.
No, I know.
Who did this?
This is Rick Rubin.
Oh.
But this isn't even mixed because it wasn't finished.
Just an abandoned song.
Yeah, it was just abandoned.
Weirdly, this might be one of the Chili Pepper songs that I kind of dig. Because I'm not a huge fan.
Right, but
there's some coolness to this.
It's a really cool, like, weird hippie vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically what was going on at that time is Flea had done a soundtrack for Basketball Diaries, I believe, and asked me to play on guitar on it, and I did. And we just enjoyed like playing bass and acoustic guitar together. So this was towards the end before I left the band, and we weren't sure if we were going to be a band or what we were going to do. And Flea had this little thing on guitar, and I said, let's do that song. And we were like, yeah. So we went in and tracked it, and it came out great. We were all really stoked on how it sounded. We just wanted Anthony to sing it. Turn it up. There's a little guitar work that's very strange sounding. It's not very me sounding.
It's not very Chili Pepper sounding either,
No.
which is kind of neat. This is you. That's very you.
That sounds a lot like me.
Yeah. That's very you too.
I guess it is very, very me sounding. Anyway, so my memory. When have you ever heard me play that kind of shit? Shit like this.
I like this song.
Just like down home rock and roll guitar licks.
It's like this is your guy's Skinnerd song or some shit. So what happened with this? Why didn't it come out?
I don't know why it didn't come out, but we broke up soon after that.
Or you left the band.
Well, so what happened was
We never really talked about why you actually left the band.
the actual truthful reasons are as follows, and why I held a grudge for many years until I got some perspective. Is that when we were doing One Hot Minute, I don't think it's any secret that Anthony experimented with drugs in the past. Mm-hmm. He put out a whole book about it.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm not outing him. But during the writing and recording of One Hot Minute, he would go missing for weeks. And he would just go check into a hotel. We wouldn't know where he is.
Which you can relate to, of course.
Which I can completely relate to. And I've done that many times myself. So many times we didn't know if we had a singer. We didn't know if he was alive. We didn't know what we were doing. We were held up for months, very inconvenienced, blah, 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 blah. That's what happens when you're in this business and you work with people on drugs. I've been through it before. I hate to say it, but it's kind of like rock star tax. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you got to wait for the guy to get his shit together to do your thing. So he was kind of out missing. He was back and forth, and we did the record. And then I believe we did this track months later. But I do know that then after this, before we finished this, Flea joined us for the Jane's Addiction tour. And for me, there was the second I got into the rehearsal room for a Jane's Addiction tour, it was like, this would be so much better on heroin. Like immediately. Like I walked in the door, I was like, oh my God, we got to have heroin instead. Instead of mineral water. This is bullshit. So me and Perry kind of stepped aside and was like, do you have the guy? I got the guy. Okay, well, let's get the guy. So
Was Perry also sober at this moment or off of heroin? Do you know?
At the time, he was not sober. Okay. This was, fucking
96, 97.
Yeah, it's like 97. So he and I get high, and then Perkins just sees it like, oh no, here we go again. And then we went on tour with Flea, and that was one of the most epic Jane's Addiction tours, and one of the most exciting, one of the most decadent, certainly one of the most drug-fueled on my part. I've never been that open and out and blatant and obvious about it, and dangerous and disgusting as well about it.
Is that when the 3 Days movie was done?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the footage that's in Morning Sun is that period.
That's some wild shit.
Yeah, so I was really, but it was still kind of a great fucking tour. Anyway, so we come back from that, and Flea had a really traumatic experience on that because he loved the music, he loved playing with us, but he didn't love that, and he had a couple of guys to deal with, but I was definitely the worst, and I was in his band. He's watching me go down the same road he watched Hillel go down.
And his own singer, in a way.
That's right, but they already lost a guitar player to this. So we come back from the Jane's tour, and somehow I just never come off tour. I don't unpack. I keep getting high the same. I go live in the Argyle Hotel for a couple of months. And got really bad. Then I finally showed up for a Chili Peppers rehearsal, and we had a tour booked, and I honestly couldn't play a fucking note. And Anthony talks about it in his book where I fell. I mean, I literally tripped into stacks of speakers and storage gear and whatever. Like I fell into a bunch of boxes basically. And it was like pretty clear that I wasn't going to be able to get it together. And so they decided to go a different direction. And John was clean and wanted to get back in the band. Now, I was pissed about it. I was really pissed about it. Having John come back made it feel better. It stung less.
At least you're being replaced by the guy.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, exactly. But what pissed me off about it, and what I'm now clearly not pissed off about it, is I'm like, so you tell me I fucking wait around for 6 months for your guy to clean up, but you guys can't wait a week for me to get my shit together. I got you. Okay, cool. Gotcha. So my career was on hold waiting for him to get clean, but I don't get a second chance.
A double standard.
Yeah. That's how I felt about it at the time. Now, 20 years have gone by, and I'm like, Well, the guy that I'm talking about started the fucking thing, for starters. He's got fucking 10 plus records out with them already. You know what I mean? Like, they're stuck. That's the guy. You know what I mean? And so, like, of course I'm not given that same latitude. That's me looking back as an adult with some distance, but it took me a long time to get over that, because I was like, it wasn't that I was pissed that I wasn't in the band, and it wasn't that I was pissed that I was even replaced. Actually, I was stoked that it was John that came back. I was just pissed about the double standard thing.
Did you voice that to them?
I voiced it to Flea for sure, and Flea was like, I understand, but this is Anthony. He's the voice and the leader of the band, and blah 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 blah. And he's like, he's like, you said it yourself. We don't jive musically. And I remember on the conversation, I said, what about that last jam we just came up with?
He was saying that you and Flea don't jive musically?
Well, he and I both had, at separate times, had moments where we fucking crushed it musically and moments where we just didn't line up musically.
Right.
Mainly in the funk area, that was not my space.
Which they were primarily a very funk-heavy band. Especially
at the time. Now they're playing more straight-up songs, but at the time, heavily funk-influenced. And so on that, like, if you think about the spectrum of music as being like a color palette that changes from color to color, we met in the center of it, right? But he went all the way down to the left to the reds, and I went all the way down to the violets. You know what I mean? In terms of our likes, we didn't like the whole rainbow, but we both liked a section of the rainbow.
Right?
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Make sense. So he was certainly into punk. Certainly into punk like I was, but he was into funk bands. He was into Parliament. I was into the punk and all those things. I could generate that kind of attitude, but I was more into the goth bands, which those guys don't want to hear anything about. But yeah, so that's the story of the song, and I don't know how it came to be, because I certainly didn't have it. I wondered what happened with it, but it just showed up.
They always come out at some point.
Showed up on the internet.